At some point in life, every human being reaches a moment where nothing makes sense anymore. The plans that once looked clear begin to collapse. The doors that once seemed open suddenly close. The heart becomes heavy in a way that words cannot fully explain. For many people, that moment becomes the point where they give up, but for a believer, that moment becomes something else entirely. Because when everything else becomes silent, when help from people disappears, when the world feels distant, there is still one door that never closes. This is not just a story about hardship. This is a reminder of why dua is not optional in a Muslim's life. It is survival, it is connection, it is the believer's lifeline. Islam never promised a life without pain. It never promised a life free of struggle. What it promised was meaning. From the earliest generations, believers were tested with fear, hunger, loss, and uncertainty. They were tested in ways that shook their hearts and challenged their patience. Yet one thing remained constant throughout their lives. They turned back to Allah. The Prophet Muhammad taught that dua is worship itself. Not because Allah needs to hear us, but because we need to speak. We need to admit our weakness. We need to acknowledge that we are not in control. Dua is not only made when life is falling apart. Dua is made because life is unpredictable and the human heart is fragile. And this understanding brings us to the story of a young Muslim named Yusuf. Yusuf grew up with simple dreams. He did not dream of fame or wealth. He wanted stability. He wanted to support his family. He wanted a peaceful life where he could worship Allah without constant worry. Like many young people, he believed that if he worked hard, things would eventually fall into place. But after completing his studies, nothing worked out the way he imagined. Applications were rejected without explanation. Interviews ended with polite smiles and empty promises. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. Every morning, Yusuf woke up with a sense of hope. He told himself that today might be different. And every night he went to bed carrying disappointment. Slowly, the weight of uncertainty began to press on his chest. Something subtle yet dangerous started to happen inside him. His heart became tired. Not tired of effort, but tired of expectation. Tired of hoping for something good and being met with silence. Yet, despite everything, Yusuf never abandoned his prayer mat. Every night before sleeping, he stood alone in a quiet room. Sometimes he stood strong. Sometimes he leaned against the wall. Sometimes his voice trembled with tears. His dua was not polished. It was not long. It was not impressive. It was honest. Oh Allah, I don't know where to go anymore. I don't know what you want from me, but I know I need you. As time passed, Yusuf noticed something strange. His problems were still there. The bills did not disappear. The uncertainty did not vanish, but his heart began to feel lighter. The anxiety that once followed him everywhere slowly loosened its grip. He no longer rushed his dua as if trying to finish quickly. He no longer complained during it. He spoke honestly. Some nights he didn't ask for solutions, he asked for strength. Some nights he didn't ask for success, he asked for patience. Some nights he said nothing at all, he just stood there, trusting that Allah knew what his heart could not express. Without realizing it, Yusuf was changing. He became calmer with people, less bitter, more focused in prayer, more aware of small blessings he had ignored before. He smiled more easily. He worried less about tomorrow. Then one day, an opportunity appeared. Not the one he expected, not the one he had prayed for specifically, but it was enough. It gave him stability. It gave him dignity. It gave him room to breathe. That was the day Yusuf understood something that would stay with him forever. Dua does not always change your situation immediately. Sometimes Allah changes the person first, and when the person changes, the situation follows in ways the mind could never predict. Many people misunderstand dua. They treat it like a transaction. They believe that if they ask in the right way, at the right time, with the right words, they will receive exactly what they want. When that does not happen, they feel disappointed. Some even feel abandoned. But dua is not a transaction. Dua is a connection. It is a conversation with the one who sees what you cannot see. Allah answers dua in different ways. Sometimes by giving you what you asked for. Sometimes by delaying it until the time is right. Sometimes by protecting you from something you did not know would harm you. And sometimes by strengthening your heart so you can carry what lies ahead. The Prophet Muhammad made dua constantly, in moments of ease and in moments of hardship, in victory and in struggle. He taught us that turning to Allah is not a sign of weakness, it is a sign of understanding. If the best of creation needed dua, what about us? If you are struggling today, do not abandon dua. If your heart feels heavy, speak to Allah. If you feel distant, return through dua. If you feel weak, lean on dua. Even if all you can say is one sentence, even if all you can do is stand in silence, because when everything else fails, dua remains. Not as a last option, but as the strongest one. The door of Allah is never closed. It does not require permission. It does not depend on your past. It does not depend on your status. Raise your hands. Speak honestly. Trust that Allah hears every word. Trust that no tear is wasted. Trust that every sincere dua leaves an impact even if you cannot see it yet. And remember this, the moment you turn to Allah, you are never alone again. There are moments in life when a person feels forgotten, not by people, but by destiny itself. Days pass, nights pass, and nothing seems to move forward. In those moments, the heart quietly asks a painful question. Why me? Islam does not tell us to ignore that feeling. It teaches us what to do with it. Instead of letting that question turn into resentment, the believer turns it into dua. Because asking Allah does not mean you doubt Him, it means you recognize Him. There was once an elderly man in the community who had lost almost everything. His business collapsed, his health weakened. Many people stopped visiting him, yet those who passed by his house every night noticed something unusual. A soft voice could be heard long after midnight. He was not complaining, he was not listing demands, he was thanking Allah. When asked how he could still be grateful, he said something simple. As long as I can still speak to Allah, I am not poor. That is the power of dua. It redefines loss. It changes how the heart understands hardship. Some people think dua must be perfect. They think it must be in Arabic, spoken fluently, memorized word for word. But Allah listens to the heart before the tongue. A broken sentence filled with sincerity is heavier than beautiful words spoken without feeling. The companions of the Prophet, peace be upon him, made dua in fear, in hunger, in pain, and in uncertainty. They did not wait for life to become comfortable before turning to Allah. They turned to Him because life was difficult. When calamity struck, dua was their shelter. When blessings arrived, dua was their protection from arrogance. There is a quiet danger when a person stops making dua, not because Allah is far, but because the heart begins to rely on itself. And the moment a human believes they can carry life alone, they are already collapsing. Dua reminds us of reality, that we are weak, that we need guidance, that we are dependent on Allah in every breath we take. Sometimes the greatest answer to dua is peace, a calm heart in the middle of chaos, a steady soul in a world that is shaking. That peace is not accidental, it is a response. If Allah answered every dua immediately, faith would become transactional. But by delaying some answers, Allah teaches patience, sincerity, and trust. So if your dua has not been answered yet, do not stop. Continue. Because every moment you raise your hands, something is happening, even if you cannot see it. Allah hears the whisper you are too afraid to say out loud. He knows the fear you hide behind your smile. He knows the exhaustion you carry silently. And He is closer than you think. Before this video ends, take a moment. Not to rush, not to scroll, just to sit with what you have heard. Because reminders are not meant to pass through the ears and disappear. They are meant to pause the heart. Life moves quickly. Days blend into each other. Weeks pass without notice. We wake up, we work, we speak, we sleep, and we repeat. And in the middle of all that movement, the heart slowly forgets what it was created for. Not comfort, not constant happiness, not endless distraction. The heart was created to know Allah. That is why no matter how much a person achieves, something still feels missing when Allah is distant. And no matter how difficult life becomes, something still feels steady when Allah is near. Every reminder you hear is not new information. It is a call to remember what you already know deep inside but often ignore. You were not created randomly. You were not left without guidance. You were not forgotten. Allah sees you exactly where you are right now, not the version of you people see, not the version you show online, the real one, the tired one, the confused one, the hopeful one, the broken one, and He knows what your heart carries. If this reminder touched you even slightly, understand that it is not by coincidence. Allah guides hearts in subtle ways. A sentence, a pause, a feeling you can't explain, that is guidance. Many people think guidance comes as a dramatic change, but most of the time it comes quietly. A desire to be better, a discomfort with distance, a longing to return. Do not ignore that feeling. Return does not require perfection. Return requires sincerity. You do not need to fix your entire life in one day. You do not need to become someone else overnight. You only need to take one step toward Allah, one sincere dua, one honest prayer, one moment of remembrance. That step matters more than you realize. Remember, Allah is not waiting for you to be worthy. He's waiting for you to turn to Him. Every time you delay repentance thinking you are not ready, remember this. None of us are ever fully ready. We come to Allah as we are, not as we wish we were. Time is passing whether we prepare or not. Every day that ends is a day closer to our meeting with Allah. Not to scare the heart, but to awaken it. Death is not the end of life. It is the end of excuses. And when that moment comes, we will not wish for more money. We will not wish for more followers. We will not wish for more comfort. We will wish for more prayer, more remembrance, more sincerity. So while you still have time, soften your heart. Forgive people not because they deserve it, but because your heart deserves peace. Let go of grudges that weigh you down. Reduce attachment to things that pull you away from Allah. Protect your salah even when you are tired. Speak to Allah even when you don't know what to say. Trust Allah even when you don't understand what He is doing. Your life may not become easier immediately, but your heart will become stronger. And a strong heart anchored in Allah can survive anything. If you feel overwhelmed, remember that Allah never burdens a soul beyond what it can bear. The fact that you are still standing is proof that Allah has been carrying you even when you didn't realize it. If you feel alone, remember that Allah is closer to you than anyone else ever could be. That if you feel distant, remember that distance disappears the moment you turn back. Do not let this reminder be just another video watched and forgotten. Let it be a turning point, even a small one. After this video ends, raise your hands even briefly and speak to Allah. No performance, no fancy words. just honesty. Say whatever is in your heart. That moment may change more than you know. And remember, Allah's mercy is greater than your mistakes. His patience is greater than your delays. His love for your return is greater than your fear of failing again. Keep returning. Keep remembering. Keep trusting. Because Allah never turns away the one who turns to Him sincerely.